Hi, our team. Hi, we're District 4, and we did our project on the March of Dimes.
These are the donation boxes that were given to us by the March of Dimes. Here are the wristbands that we sold to raise money for the March of Dimes for our project. This is another picture of our wristbands. The rest of these pictures are pictures of our many meetings on the 3rd floor of Milner Library on Thursdays during class time. This picture was one of our first group meetings when we were all still getting to know each other. This next picture was when the power went out at the library during one of our meetings. And here we are counting all of our money at one of our very last meetings for our March of Dimes project.
As a class assignment, we had to fill out our project proposal. This made us sit down and figure out who our team was, what roles we would all play, what rules we were going to follow, and what our goals were going to be. We decided we would meet on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on the 3rd floor of Milner, where we are right now. No, we're not.
Sorry, that was a lie.
In our project proposal, we also assigned each member their role. Jenna was our team liaison with Megan, Cassie was our team recorder, I was the team historian, Robin was the webmaster, and Kyle and Connor were our treasurers. And Ernie was the liaison with the March of Dimes. We really wanted to focus on raising funds and awareness for the March of Dimes, which is an organization that helps women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. They also help families who have premature babies and research the problems that threaten babies and ways to prevent these problems. Raising money for this organization was important to our team because the cost of keeping a premature baby is very expensive and a big burden to families. Our primary goal was to raise $700 as a group for the March of Dimes. We evaluated this by keeping track of the funds we raised throughout the semester. We had 2 secondary goals. One was to get 4 additional people to participate in the walk, and our second secondary goal was to gain more professional experience and make connections for the future. We definitely gained experience in working with professionals when we set up different fundraisers throughout the semesters that my fellow group members will touch on later in this video.
During this project, we did not change our plan. We stuck with our goals that we set during our first meeting. The primary and secondary goals that we set were ones that we thought we would be capable of achieving in the amount of time that we were given to fundraise. I think that by not making any changes to our plans helped us feel strong as a group and gave us great motivation to meet those goals.
During this project, we encountered a few different difficulties. One of these difficulties was not being able to fundraise outside the Jewel as we planned to. A manager told us it would be alright, and then the day that we planned to go to fundraise, we got a call saying that we would not be allowed to anymore. This was a small setback that we had to overcome as a group. After this setback, we decided to put donation box in restaurants such as Culver's. By doing this, we were able to get more money without having to put in as much time into standing outside a store.
Another difficulty would be finding times to fundraise that worked for everyone in our group. With 7 people, it is hard to find a time that everyone can be present. By making some sacrifices, we were able to overcome this issue. Our last difficulty would be the fact that we fundraised on the quad. It rained all day. We got donations, but we would have a lot of more if the weather had been nicer.
Chapter 7 focuses on small group decision-making procedures, one of those being nominal group technique. Nominal group technique allows members to independently and silently generate ideas, but not as a group. Our team used this technique several times throughout the semester. Our team recorder would assign a few ideas to think about until our next meeting. For example, everyone was to come up with at least 3 fundraising ideas and present them to our next meeting. Nominal group technique permits members to work alone, combine ideas afterward, and later view the process as one in which they worked as a group. This way, we were not persuaded by the influential ideas of others, and we were able to come up with our own ideas.
The concept that I would like to talk about would be the small group socialization process. I found this chapter in the book to be really interesting because I saw it play out within our own group. The first theory, attraction theory, can't really be applied to our group. This is because we did not choose our group, we were randomly assigned to each other. Attraction theory explains the different reasons for wanting to become a part of a group. To explain the small group socialization process, 6 interpersonal communication motives are explained in the text. They are inclusion, affection, control, escape, pleasure, and finally relaxation. During our small groups interaction, all of these roles were very evident. The definition of socialization, according to our text, is a two-way process of change where a group uses verbal and nonverbal messages to create a group culture. From the very first meeting, our group culture was very laid back and an equal environment to work in. We subconsciously divided up all the work equally among our members and got to know each other. Creating this culture from the start made us acquire a close bond. All of our interactions with each other helped us to create set rules and roles. An example of these rules are not missing meetings, letting group members know in advance if we were going to miss, coming on time and prepared to the meetings. During small group socialization, the group goes through 5 different phases. The first phase is the antecedent phase. This is where members express beliefs and attitudes about group work. This happened for us during our first time meeting each other, where we all shared our thoughts about previous group work we have done. By talking about this, we were able to decide what we wanted to do differently during this group project. The anticipatory phase, this is where group members decide what they expect from each other. We talked briefly about this when we met for the first time during our class. Encounter phase, this stage is where groups come together for the first time to establish goals. We did this during our first meeting where we assigned roles and tasks to each member. Assimilation phase, this is where members accept the group culture and begin to identify with the group. I think the stage started for us about 3 meetings into the semester. At this time, we always sat by each other in class, even when it wasn't required. Exit phase. This is the final phase and is when the groups exit the group work and/or the project ends. This video actually serves as our exit phase because it's our last task as a group and the last meeting we will have.
The concept I would like to talk about is brainstorming. One of the most beneficial aspects of brainstorming is how it allows the group to generate more ideas and solutions to problems than an individual may be able to do alone. District 4 decided that brainstorming was the best technique for our decision-making process because of the flexibility we have to accomplish our goals. Our group project does not limit what we can and cannot do, which allows us to look at a variety of different options when deciding the best ways to fundraise for the March of Dimes. Another key reason why we decided to do brainstorming for our decision-making was because we wanted a range of options and a large number of good ideas. Because the project lasts throughout the entire semester, we wanted to make sure we had plenty of ideas to last us and have a pool of backup ideas if we start struggling closer to our due date. The main time that District 4 had used brainstorming was when we were coming up with our fundraising ideas. At our 3rd meeting, we began to brainstorm several creative ideas that we thought would be the most beneficial to our funding for the March of Dimes. The way we did this was we had Cassie record any thoughts that we had onto a piece of paper. The way we started this was we voted on who would go first, then we just continued around the table and had everyone shout out an idea. It did not matter how ridiculous the idea was, we just needed as many options as we could think of so we could choose the best one. For example, a car wash, a dunk tank, wristbands, sitting outside of stores selling food, selling goodies on the quad, and asking for generous donations. After coming up with as many ideas as we could, we stopped to reevaluate all of our options. After looking at the list that Cassie had created from all of our ideas, we decided to choose a few that we wanted to pursue. We narrowed the list down to wristbands, selling food outside of stores, and selling snacks on the quad.
Over the course of this semester, our group met every Thursday in Milner Library to brainstorm ideas on our fundraising project, complete group work, discuss our progress, and set goals for the following week's meeting. During the first couple weeks, our group spent a lot of time talking and trying to get to know each other. We brainstormed a lot of ideas on how we were going to raise money for the March of Dimes organization. Each person was assigned a different role in the group. I was the recorder who was in charge of making the weekly meeting agenda and recording the minutes. Robin was assigned to the webmaster role. She was in charge of designing our group webpage portfolio. Rachel was the historian. She took pictures at each of our meetings and fundraising events. Kyle and Connor were the treasurers who were in charge of keeping track of all of our money. Ernie and Jenna were the liaisons who communicated with Caroline, who is the head of March of Dimes, and Megan. During our meetings, we spent a lot of time brainstorming different ways to fundraise. In that, we incorporated the expenses of each fundraiser and how we were going to carry out each fundraiser. We also spent some time talking about what the March of Dimes organization was and the mission of the organization. During our meetings, we established group goals and individual goals. We also made deadlines and set dates for when the fundraisers would take place. At one of the meetings, we designed purple bracelets that we decided to sell for $2 a piece. Each group member was in charge of raising $100. Lastly, at some of the meetings, we completed group assignments such as project proposal, midterm assessment, peer evaluations, and reflection papers. Overall, our group meetings were most productive when all of our group members were in attendance and on time.
As a group, we came up with an awesome idea for our fundraiser. We made wristbands and sold them for $2 each to our friends, families, and classmates. This was a huge moneymaker for us. We also sold these bracelets on the quad to random students and faculty. In addition to this, we put donation boxes and covers in at each of our jobs.
Selling these bracelets was the main way we all came up with the $100, so it was a great idea that we brainstormed during our first meeting. Without these wristbands, we would not have been as successful. We came up with this idea by brainstorming, and we are all really glad that we were able to come up with this idea.
This is the first three.
The outcome of our project was very successful. We were able to raise $700 for the March of Dimes. $600 of this money came from us, and $57 of this money came from the donation boxes we put at Culver's. The rest of the money came from volunteer hours. Overall, we are very satisfied with the ending of this project. As a team, we were able to work well together and learn a lot in the process. This class and this project helped us to learn how it is to work with the group as a communication professional. Everything we did this semester is things we will be able to apply in future classes, internships, and jobs, making this a very successful outcome for our group.
There are a few things we would have done differently if we were to do this project all over again. We would have made sure we completed the project sooner so we would have gotten the extra credit, as well as peer evaluations on time. It was difficult to stress how important deadlines were, and there were many times where deadlines were not met. This caused for our fundraising to take longer than we initially planned, therefore pushing back final assignments we had to complete. I think we should have also done volunteer hours in addition to selling our March of Dimes bracelets and asking for donations. Although we did reach our goal, it was difficult to reach $100 individually.
For future students taking Comp 223, I would advise to get to know your group as well as possible. Not being familiar with who you are working with could end up in miscommunication. By understanding each other earlier on, it will prevent there from being any future disagreements. All groups should use brainstorming to come up with ideas. This is a great way of getting everyone to participate and share their ideas. Once you have a few good ideas, be proactive. Get to work right away. Don't just say you are going to do it, but put it in action. One of the biggest issues groups come across is not getting anything done. With a few proactive moves, the group could succeed in meeting all their goals and have a great group experience.
One thing that I would really recommend to other students doing this project would be to get a head start on all of your fun. This is something our group did, and I'm so glad that we ended up doing that. We started brainstorming early, which made us very productive from the start. If we would have waited any longer, it would have been a lot harder for us to come up with $700 in such a short amount of time. Something else I would recommend would be to get family and friends involved by inviting them to go along with you to the walk. People would be a lot more likely to buy bracelets and donate money if they were also going to get to be a part of the actual event.
Overall, District 4 is very happy with the way the project turned out.
Go, baby, go!
And I was like, baby, 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 oh, like, baby, baby, no.
Selling these bracelets was the
Can you look at me?
Oh wait, I need to show them.
What?
I'm supposed to show the camera.
I thought we were saying
It's on top of my head.
it's environment. Thanks, Jenna.
You're welcome. Everybody smile, look like you love each other.
Am I in it?
Family photo.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Ready?
Yeah. Done.
Time and I was